And dangal greetings to everyone. Dangal greetings, Sir Pat, and dangal greetings to ITA. So for our final group project, we are tasked to do a GUI based rather than console based system. So in this final group project, naatasan kami gumawa ng Quick Mart or ng shopping mart para sa mga aming system ngayon. So first, before we and my members discuss everything for the backend or how we or what's the process of the system and logic, let me introduce my members first. So first we have Balbero Lee Rafi Angelo O, then Balayan Pauline C, then Baltasar Ralph Christian J, then Patakan Elaine Grace, then I Lawrence Bautista Jr. The next one would be Beato Jerome Ivan P. The next one is Mr. Bukid Abraham Christopher M. The next one would be Kapoy Anday C. And Cosino Micaela Princess I. Then lastly, Salvador Jerry. So, yeah, let my members now discuss what we have done for this final group project. Yeah. So again, nagiting Sarpat, I'm Bautista Lawrence Jr. C. And I'll be discussing our discountable.java and cart observer.java as well as the product.java. So now, i-discuss ko muna yung discountable.java. Bale, ano po siya? Hindi po siya normal na class. Bale, ito po ay interface. So ano po nga po ba yung interface? Ito po yung blueprint sa isang program or system kung saan parang it consists of abstract method only. And yung interface classes po, hindi po siya instantiate sa ibang classes. So, dito po sa discountable interface natin, we have public void, apply discount, double PCT. Bali, meron po siyang public access modifier and void return type. And sa parameter naman niya po, meron po tayo ditong double PCT. Then, next one would be public string get discount. Ang kanya pong access modifier ay public, which is na-access po siya sa lahat ng classes. Then, ang return type niya ay string. And ang method name ay get discount. So, bali, ito lang po yung sa discountable interface since interface po siya. Maiksi lang po talaga yung makikita natin dito. Then, next one would be cart observer.java. So, just like discountable.java, isa rin po siyang interface. So, dito naman po, meron po tayong tatlong method. Yung una po ay public void on cart updated, double total. Bali, ang kanya pong access modifier ay public, ang return type ay void, and meron po siyang parameter na double total. Next one would be public void on item added, then cart item. Ang kanyang public ang kanyang access modifier ay public, ang return type ay void. Then, meron po siyang parameter na cart item, which is yung cart item class po natin. Then, variable name na item. And lastly, para sa ating interface na cart observer, ang method po ay public void on cart cleared. Bale, ang kanya po access modifier ay public, ang return type ay void. So, next, Java file naman po tayo. The next one would be product.java. So, unlike po sa mga nauna na na-discuss ko po na Java file na interface, ito naman pong product natin ay abstract class po siya. So, meaning, hindi rin po siya nade-declare sa ibang um, nade-declare sa ibang files. Bale, ang trabaho niya lang po ay maging abstract and i-implement po siya or ay ini-implement po siya ng other classes natin. So, para po sa ating attribute, meron po tayo ditong private int product ID, private string name, and private double price, private string category, private int stock. So, syempre, ito po yung mga attributes po natin ay naka-private access modifier po siya. So, hindi po siya talaga totally directly na a-access ng ibang classes or ng ibang files ng Java. So, syempre po, gagawa po tayo dyan ng mga getter methods po natin. Kaya kung makikita po natin dito, scrolling down a bit, lahat po ng attributes po natin ay merong getters. And syempre po, for sa standard natin, sa isang Java file or constructor, ay Java file, kailangan din po natin ng setters. Then, lastly, ang pinaka-important po sa lahat para makagawa tayo ng multiple objects ay yung constructor natin. Kaya meron po tayo dito ang public product and ang kanya pong parameter ay kung ano po yung nakalagay lahat dito po sa ating attributes, nandito rin po lahat sa ating parameter. So, sa loob naman po niya, syempre po, ina-assign po niya ng private ay ng mga attributes sa mismo class na to nandito po sa parameter. Kaya meron po tayo dito, this.product_id is equals to product ID, this.name is equals to name, this.price is equals to price, this.category is equals to category. And lastly, this stock is equals to stock. So, dito naman po sa ating abstract class na product, may makikita po tayo sa baba na iisang abstract method. Public abstract string get description, public access modifier, and syempre po may abstract since nasa abstract class po tayo. And meron po tayong ditong string return type and yung name naman po ay get description. And since abstract method po siya, hindi po tayo magkakaroon dito ng code body. Kaya ganyan lang po siya. So, that's all po with my part. Again, I'm Bautista Lawrence Jr. C. So, next presenter, please.
So, Danga greetings everyone. I'm Valverly Angelo, and today I will be presenting the beverage.java class and the snack.java class. So, these are two product subclasses that extends the abstract product and implements the discountable interface. So, first, let's start with the beverage.java. So, the beverage.java extends to product and implements discountable. It adds two private fields on top of what it inherits. So it has the private double volume, which is the drink size in milliliters, and a boolean, which is carbonated. It also has its own constructor that receives product ID, the name, the price, the stock, the volume, and the boolean is carbonated. It also has its own getters and setter for volume and for the boolean is carbonated. Now, let's move on to the overriding. So, it overrides the get description method from the product.java. Uh, what it does is it displays all product info of the beverage. Next, it also implements the apply discount method that permanently lowers the price by a given percentage. So it needs to be between 0 and 100. So if not, it will throw an error. It also implements the get discounted price, which um, previews the discounted price without changing it. Now, next is the snack.java. So, snack.java also follows the same structure as beverage.java. So, it extends to products and also implements discountables. But it has its own private fields, its own variables. So, it has double weight, which is in grams, and private string flavor. So, for example, barbecue, cheese, etc. It also has its own constructor that receives its product ID, the name, the price, stock, weight, and also the flavor. And also its own getters and setters for the weight and for the flavor. So, it also overrides the get description method from the product.java. So, it has the same function as the one in beverage.java. It displays the info of the snacks in the snacks.java. So next, it also implements the apply discount method, which also permanently lowers the price by a given percentage. So it needs to be between 0 and 100. If not, it will also throw an error. And lastly, it also implements the get discounted price, which also previews the discounted price without changing it. So both classes demonstrate uh, OOP principles. So it has encapsulation, so all fields are private and has getters and setters. It also uses inheritance, so both extend product reusing their common attributes. It also uses polymorphism here, so each class overrides the get description method, but they both have its own version, and also abstraction, which both implements the discountable interface. And that's all for my part. Thank you for listening.
Greetings, Sir Patrick. I'm Ralph Christian Baltasar and I will be explaining the household item and product factory. So, for the household item, first, sa class declaration, public class household item extends product implements discountable. So, extends product meaning that the household item inherits all basic product properties such as ID, name, price, and stock from the product class. And then it implements discountable, so the household item must provide implementations for discount related methods defined in the discountable interface. So next, we have two private attributes specific to household items. So first is the brand. So basically who made it, like Ariel, Safeguard, etc. And then the usage type, so what it's for. So for example, cleaning or bathroom, etc. So private means that this class can directly access these variables. And then next, for the constructor, public household item. So we use super to pass the basic details up to the product parent class with the category hard-coded as household. Then this.brand and this.usage type stores the household specific values into the fields above. The next is the get description. So this is an overridden version. This method was defined in the product and this is the household specific version of it. So this returns a neatly formatted string showing all the product's detail. And then the percentage that 2f formats the price to two decimal places. So for example, if we type 55, it will show us 55.00. The next is the apply discount. So basically this validates that the percentage is within 0 to 100, otherwise it throws an error. Then it calculates the new price using the formula price times 1 minus percentage divided by 100. And then it permanently updates the product price via set price. So for example, a 20% discount on 55 pesos. So 55 times 0.80 equals 44 pesos. The next is the get discounted price. So this is the same validation and formula as apply discount, but the key difference is it only returns the computed price without changing the actual price. So this is useful for showing a discount preview without committing to it. Then next is the product factory. So first, for the class and field, public class, product factory, private final list, product, default products. So the default products is a private final list that will hold the preloaded products, and the final means that this list is referenced and cannot be reassigned after initialization. Then for the constructor, public product factory, so it initializes default products as an empty list and it immediately calls populate default products to fill it with preset items. Then next is the create product. So basically this part acts as a product builder. So we give it a type and basic info and it gives back the right object. So basically, this uses a switch to decide which product class to instantiate, and then it fills the default values for fields like stock, brand, etc. So this throws an error with a helpful message if an invalid type is passed. Then next is the get available types. So this returns three valid product type strings, and then collection that unmodifiable list makes it read only so no one can accidentally add or remove types from outside. And then the populate default products. So private meaning it can only be called internally by the constructor, not from the outside. So this manually creates and adds 12 preset products across three categories. So each product ID follows a pattern. So BV for beverages, SN for snacks, and HH for household items. And then the get default products. So this returns the full list of 12 preloaded products wrapped in collections that unmodifiable list, so outside code can read but not modify the list, protecting the factory's internal data.
Dahil greetings po, Sir Pat. Dangal greetings, everyone. So today, I am going to discuss the cart item class. So inside the shopping mart package, its purpose is to represent a single line item in a shopping cart. So not just the product itself, but a combination of a product and the quantity of that product the customer intends to purchase. Think of it like a one row on a grocery receipt. So the class declares two private fields, the product object and an int named quantity. So this product field is expected to be another class elsewhere in the project that holds product specific details such as the item's name and price by keeping both fields private. So the class follows the object-oriented principle of encapsulation and meaning the internal data cannot be accessed or changed directly from outside the class, only through controlled methods. So, next is the constructor cart item. Inside of it is we have parameters product, and int quantity. So, it is how a new cart item gets created. So, when called, it receives a product and a quantity as arguments and stores them in the instance using this keyword to distinguish the fields from the parameters. So whenever another part of the program needs to add an item to the cart, it would instantiate a cart item with the appropriate product and amount. So next, we have the getter and setter methods, such as get product, get quantity, and set quantity. So this provides controlled access to the private fields. Getters allow the classes to read the values, while setters allow them to be updated. So, this is useful, for example, if the user changes the quantity of an item in their cart without removing and re-adding it. Next is the get subtotal. So, this method is where actual business logic lives. So, this calculates the total cost for the cart entry by multiplying product.getPrice by quantity. Notably, it includes a null safety check at the start. And then, if the product field is null for any reason, the method returns 0 instead of throwing a null pointer exception, which would crash the program. So, this is a small but important defensive programming detail. And lastly, proceeding to the last, we have the toString method. This overrides Java's default object representation to produce a clean readable string. And the @override annotation at the top signals that this method is intentionally replacing the original version inherited from Java's base object class. And this formatted output is practical for displaying cart contents to the user whether in a console printout, a receipt summary, or a debugging log. That's all. Thank you.
Greetings, Sir Pat. I'm Belen, and I'll be explaining the three methods in our cart class, which are the get instance method, add item method, and remove item method. So first, yung get instance. So basically, ito yung ating nag-use siya ng singleton pattern. Meaning, isa lang yung cart object na ginagamit throughout the whole system. So what happens here is, chine-check niya if the instance is null. So, if yes, gagawa siya ng new cart. And kapag hindi naman, ibabalik niya lang yung existing one. So parang we avoid creating multiple parts and everything stays consistent. And next is yung ating add item method. Meron siyang parameter na yung product natin and yung integer quantity. So this method is for adding items to the cart. What it does is umiikot muna siya sa existing items to check if the product already exists. So if nakita niya na same yung product ID or if mag-match, instead of adding new item, i-update lang niya yung quantity by adding yung new quantity. So if the product is not yet in the cart, saka pa lang siya mag-a-add ng item gamit to. Gamit yung new cart item. So after that, it calls the notify all observers na method, which basically updates kung ano man yung naka-listen like UI or display para makita agad yung changes. And lastly is yung remove item na method. Meron siyang parameter na integer product ID. So this one is for removing items from the cart. So ginagamit niya yung remove if, which is like a shortcut para tanggalin yung item na merong na magma-match sa product ID. So, after removing, same as before, tatawagin niya yung method na notify all observers para updated ulit yung kung ano man yung changes, updated lahat. So, ayun, yung methods na to, it helps manage the cart by making sure na isa lang yung cart natin and properly yung pag-add natin ng items and removing them while keeping everything updated in real time. So, that's it for my part. Thank you.
Nakalimutan Sir Pat. I'm Elaine Grace S. Butacan and I'll be explaining my part. So for my part, i-explain ko yung remaining methods ng cart class. So from clear cart hanggang get items. Then first, we have clear cart. So for clear cart, basically itong method na to is ginagamit para i-clear or i-remove lahat ng laman ng cart. So, as in, totally empty siya. Gamit yung items.clear. Then after that, we call notify all observes. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng nakakonect or naka-observe sa cart, like UI or total display, automatic mag-update. So, hindi na kailangan i-refresh manually. Kusa na siya nag-refresh kapag may changes. Then, next naman is yung get total. So, for get total, this method naman is siya yung nagko-compute ng total price ng lahat ng items sa cart. So, ginagawa dito is nagsiset tayo ng variable na total. Then, iniikot natin yung bawat cart item. So, for each item, minomultiply natin yung price ng product sa quantity niya. Then, ina-add natin ito sa total. So, in short, dito natin kinukuha yung total amount na babayaran ng user. So, next, we have add observe. We have add observe, cart observer. So, sa method naman na to, ginagamit para mag-register ng observer sa cart. So, parang if may part ng system na gusto mag-monitor ng changes like UI or notifications, ina-add natin sila dito. So, once na-add na sila dito is automatic na silang makaka-receive ng updates kapag may nangyari sa cart. The next is notify all observers. So, for notify all observers, this method loops through all the observers. Then, tinatawag niya yung update method nila. So, meaning, every time may change sa cart, like nag-add, nag-remove, or nag-clear, automatic silang nag-update. So, dito pumapasok yung observer design pattern natin para sync lahat ng components ng system. And lastly, yung get items. So, for get items, this method returns lahat ng items na nasa cart. So, ginagamit siya kapag gusto nating i-display yung laman ng cart or i-access yung data. Like, for checkout or UI display. So overall, itong part ng code is nag-handle siya clearing the cart. So pag-compute ng total, pag-notify ng observers, and pagkuha ng cart items. So kaya nagiging mas dynamic and responsive yung system natin. So that's all for my part.
Greetings, Sir Patrick. I'm Abram Christopher M. Bukid, and I will be explaining the receipt class or receipt.java in our finals group project in OOP. So, this code defines a class named receipt inside the package shopping mart. So, the main purpose of this is to generate and display a receipt after a customer completes a purchase. So the class uses a several Java libraries, the Java Swing, local datetime, this datetime formatter list UUID. So the Java Swing is used for displaying the receipt in a dialog box. The Java time package is used in handling the date and time of the transaction. The Java util package is used for handling lists and generating a unique transaction ID. So inside the class, we have a several attributes here. This includes the transaction ID, the items, total, tax, and date. So the transaction ID stores unique ID for each transaction. Items, which is a list of products purchased. The total, which is the total cost before tax. And the tax, which stores the computed tax, and date, which records when the transaction happened. So there is also a constant variable called tax rate, which is set to 0.12, meaning 12% tax. So, in the constructor, the class automatically gets the current cart using the cart that get instance. So, it then generates a unique transaction ID using UUID and shortens it to 8 characters. After that, it retrieves the list of items and the total amount from the cart. It calculates the tax by calling the calculate tax method, which is here, and sets the current date and time using the local date time now. So the calculate tax method is simple, so it just multiply the total amount by the tax rate and returns the computed tax. Now let's proceed to the generate receipt. So the generate receipt method builds the actual receipt as a formatted string. It uses a string builder to efficiently concatenate text. First, it formats the date using the datetime formatter. Then it creates the header of the receipt, including the store name, transaction ID, and date. After that, it displays the table header showing the item name, quantity, and subtotal. It then loops through each cart item in the list and prints its details, including the product name, the quantity, and the subtotal. Once all items are listed, it prints the subtotal, the tax amount, and the final total, which is the subtotal plus tax. Finally, it adds the thank you message and returns the complete receipt as a string. Now let's proceed to the print to dialog method. So this is responsible for displaying the receipt in a graphical interface. So it calls generate receipt to get the receipt text, then replaces it inside a JText area. The text area is styled with a monospaced font to keep the alignment clean. It is wrapped in a scroll pane to allow scrolling in case the receipt is long. Finally, it displays everything using the J option pane that show message dialog method. So at the bottom, which is here, so there are getter methods. These allow the other parts of the program to access the transaction ID, the list of items, the total amount, and the tax and date without directly modifying them. So this follows the principle of encapsulation in object-oriented programming. Overall, This class demonstrates key OOP concepts such as encapsulation, object interaction with the cart and the cart item classes, and clean separation of responsibilities by handling receipt generation and display in one class.
Greetings, Sir Patrick. I'm Michaela Princess Icosino. So, ang pag-uusapan natin ngayon in this video is yung POS frame. So, kapag sinabing POS frame sa JavaScript, ibig sabihin ito yung actual window na lumalabas sa screen. So, ito yung pinaka-root ng GUI or UI. So, lahat ng components like tables, buttons, panels is nakalagay dito. So, kung gusto mong mismo maintindihan kung paano nakastructure yung buong POS UI, dito sa dito sa JavaScript masisimula. So, pansinin muna natin yung class signature mismo, like yung public class POS frame extends JFrame implements cart observer. So, meron dalawang bagay na agad na nangyayari dito. Ito yung nag-extend tayo ng JFrame. Ibig sabihin, yung POS frame, IS or system window, hindi tayo gumagawa ng window as a separate object. Yung class mismo, yung window. So, mas clean tingnan yung approach nito kaysa mag-initiate ng JFrame inside the separate class. Pangalawa, nag-implement tayo ng cart observer. Ito yung observer pattern, which is, ang meaning, kapag may nangyari sa cart, like may mag-add or mag-remove ng item, sa POS frame is automatically na ino-notify and nag-update yung mismong UI. Hindi kailangan mag-manual polling o kahit anong hacky refresh logic. Yung cart mismo, ang tatawag ng POS frame. So, kapag may changes, agad na nag-update yung system or yung next naman, color constant. So, ngayon, yung color constant, maraming developers yung naglalagay ng color inline sa paggamit ng new color, then yung hexadecimal na ginagamit para ma-achieve yung color na gusto nila. So, functional to, pero nightmare pag i-implement. So, imagine mo na nagpapalit ka ng brand color. So, kailangan mong hanapin lahat ng occurrence manually. So, dito gumawa tayo ng private static final color constants, which is lahat ng colors na gagamitin sa buong class is nakaset na before pa mag-proceed sa ibang part ng code. So, loop static means shared siya sa lahat ng instances ng class. So, hindi mo na kailangan ng separate copy per object. Yung final keyword naman, ibig sabihin, hindi nagbabago yung value pagkatapos na ma-assign. Ang equivalent niya sa JavaScript is constant. Ibig sabihin, pag nakaset na, hindi na pwedeng baguhin. Then, yung private keyword naman is, ibig sabihin, accessible lang yung color na to within the class. So, kapag sinubukang i-access ng ibang class yung color na to, dapat gumamit sila ng get setter. So, kapag hindi sila gumamit ng get setter, magkakaroon ng error doon sa class combination error. So, next naman, pansinin din natin yung naming convention. Hindi generic yung names, hindi siya color 1 or color blue. May semantic meaning siya, gumamit tayo ng background, accent, tsaka text. Sa gitna, like yung color underscore background, underscore for ano color, like deep. So, alam mo na agad yung purpose ng color based sa name pa lang. Next naman, yung pinaka-apat na parameter, like 45, ito yung alpha value transparency, yung section highlight, same yun ng same ng color accent na brown, pero halos transparent para hindi ma-overpower yung text sa loob ng selected row, which is subtle but intentional sa design decision. So, ito yung, ang tutukoy dito is yung primary satisfied na color section, background, tas gumamit ng hexadecimal na value para ma-achieve yung color na gusto. Then, parehong logic lang din siya sa fonts. So, merong conscious na font sharing dito. So, gumamit ang Georgia para sa headings and totals. Serif font naman para sa formality at with ang visual hierarchy. Then, Consolas and Courier New para sa data at coded like content. So, monoscape fonts naman, kaya align ang digits kahit magkaiba ang value. So, kapag naka-display ka ng price or quantity sa isang table, gusto mong i-align yung decimal points. Yung advantage ng monoscape, yun yung advantage ng paggamit ng monoscape. Then, yung font logo naman, gumamit tayo ng Georgia Italic size 11, which is instantialized siya para may personality or maliit para hindi overwhelming yung pinaka-header. Then, sa part naman na to, sa private static final in product call, ID, name, category, price, stock, madalas na ina-aprobahan ng developers or madalas na ginagamit ng mga developers para sa mga crucial maintainability ng mga code. So, sa JavaScript, JTable, kapag gagawin mong table.getColumn, model.getColumn, hindi obvious kung ano yung column na tinutukoy mo. So, kailangan mo pang manumanuhin or mag-refer sa table definition, like maglalagay ka ng number of column. So, kapag Pero kapag gumamit tayo ng table.get column model.get column, then gagamitin natin yung mga product underscore call underscore ID or price or category or stock or name is agad na ma-identify kung ano ba yung column na tinutukoy. Then, kapag nag-insert ka ng bagong column sa gitna ng table, lahat ng hard-coded indexes sa ibaba nito is mali na. But kapag constant yung ginamit mo, i-update mo lang yung constant value sa isang lugar, so updated na lahat ng references automatically. Bali yun yung pinaka-principle ng single source of truth, which is isang beses mo lang itukoy ang meaning ng isang value. Madalas ginagamit ng mga dago ko. Then, yung para naman sa mga instance field, meron dalawang table dito. Product table, which is sa left, then tar table, which is sa right. At para sa bawat table na yun, may corresponding default table model, which is importante na maintindihan ng yung mga relationship nito kasi yung default table model, yung data layer ng table, yung JTable, yung view layer. Hindi mo directly dinidisplay yung data, which is ang ginagawa mo is nilalagay mo siya sa model, tapos yung table ang mag-automatic na mag-render dito. So, ito yung mga MVC pattern, like model view controller, which is ginagamit sa mga swing or Java swing. Then, yung product factory naman, yung factory pattern nito, instead na gumawa tayo ng new product na object inline sa constructor ng POS frame, may dinededicate lang tayo yung class na nag-asikaso ng product creation, which is mas clean, testable, at saka pwede mong palitan yung iba't ibang factory kapag kailangan. For example, yung unit test, which is pwede ka mag-inject ng Mac factory. Then, constructor naman, so, singleton pattern, merong get instance na method, yung cart class, at ito yung way para ma-access yung cart object. So, ang idea is isang cart lang sa buong application, hindi na pwedeng magdalawang cart na magkaibang state. So, centralized state management na siya, which is naka-Javascript style. Then, yung cart.add observer naman, dito nila-register yung POS frame itself as an observer ng cart. So, yung this keyword, yung POS frame instance biglang yung tinutukoy niya. So, kapag nag-update yung cart, tatawag ng cart ng callback method na defined sa cart observer. So, yung cart observer in-implement ng POS interface. So, yung, for example, yung on-cart update method or yung method, kung ano yung method name sa loob ng cart observer, is mag-refresh yung cart table display. So, wala nang manual refresh pag na kailangan. So, active siya. Then, yung UI manager that set look and feel, parenthesis naman, then sa loob niya yung UI manager that get cross-platform look and feel trusting method. Ito yung nagsiset ng consistent look across operating systems. By default, swing yung mag-a-adapt sa native OS styling. Mukhang Windows apps sa Windows, mukhang Mac apps sa Mac. Then, sa Linux, ganun din, nag-work sa Linux. Tapos, cross-platform LNF, pinapalitan nito yung Java's consistent style para same ang itsura kahit saan mo i-run. Then, wrap ito sa try-catch na method or try-catch na function ng walang body. So, catch, exception, ignore. Meaning kapag nabigo yung system or nag-fail, tuloy pa rin yung pag-run. So, not idea sa production pero accessible sa mga UI setup na halos hindi naman nagbabago. Or setup na hindi naman nag-fit. Then, yung init components method naman, ito yung nag-layout sa lahat or sa buong system. Yung border layout, isa sa mga built-in layout managers na swing. Hinahati siya ng containers sa 5 zones, north, south, east, west, and center. So, yung center yung pinaka-flexible. Siya yung kinukuha ng lahat ng remaining space pagkatapos mag-size yung north and south. Then, yung structure naman is header sa taas, main content sa gitna, status bar or total display sa baba. Classic and intuitive na layout para sa mga POS application. Pansinin din na bawat build top bar, build center, and build bottom bar na method is naka-separate private method pa. Ito yung decomposition principle, which is hindi dapat ilagay sa isang malaking method yung lahat ng function para mas madaling i-debug just in case na magkaroon ng fail na reaction or error. Then, mas madaling i-basahin at ma-modify yung mga specific section kapag kailangan mo i-update yung function. So, pag magamit ka nito ng naka-separate private method, is hindi naapektuhan yung ibang method kapag mayroong changes sa isang specific na method. Then, yung build topper method is yung my layer structure. Yung stripe, 3 pixel ang height. Yung 3 pixel yung height ito. So, purely decorative siya. Isang manipis na color accent sa pinakatuktok ng window, which is pag nirama yung code, makikita mo yung light sa taas. So, maliit na detail lang yan para sa pagbibigay ng polish na overall look. Tapos yung main top bar pa naman compound border ang ginagamit. Compound border para pagsamahin yung dalawang borders. Isang main border para sa bottom divider line at isang empty border para sa body. So, yung main border, then parenthesis, then makikita mo dyan yung mga number. Ibig sabihin niya, yung unang number top, yung pangalawang number na, yung pangatlong number bottom, then yung right number. Yung pang-apat na number is yung right value, yung main border. So, sa isa lang yung pixel na border. Nasa bottom lang, so nagsisilbing separate between the header and yung content below it. Then yung build center method naman yung gumagawa ng split pane. So yung J-split pane is ibig sabihin resizable yung divider within the or between the components. Horizontal split, ibig sabihin kaliwa at kanan yung madalas nasa sides and hindi sa taas at baba. Then yung set divider location, parenthesis naman, ito yung initial load, dito nilalagay yung divider, 570 pixels yung sa kaliwa. At yung set resize weight, kapag ni-resize yung window to 55%, ng extra yung move space mapupunta naman sa kaliwa, yung 45% naman sa kanan new size no window. So, yung produkto ng panel, ang mas malaki. So, yung sa mas malaki size is yung product. Then, yung sa mas maliit na size is yung cart. Then, next naman, yung custom cell renderers. Yung custom cell renderers, ito yung pinaka-meaty at pinaka-interesting na part ng code, yung custom cell renderers. So, sa Swing, by default, lahat ng cells sa isang JTable ay mag-render ng pare-pareho. So, kung gusto mong ma-apply ng conditional styling, ibang kulay kapag mababa ang stock, then ibang font naman para sa mga subtotal. So, kailangan magbawa ng custom table cell renderer. So, sa mababang stock, ibig sabihin gagamit ka ng color red na font ay na color ng text or green naman kapag enough lang yung stock niya. So, inline anonymously class ito, gumagawa tayo ng subclass ng default table called renderer on the spot. So, ino-override yung get table sa render component method. Ito yung method na tinatawag ng table for every single cell bago i-render. Binibigyan niya ng chance na i-customize yung component bago lumabas sa screen. Dito tinatawag natin yung get category conf, which is helper method na nag-switch based sa category name. Then, sa mga color-coded categories naman, which is itong case, beverages, snacks, dairy, and produce, gumagamit tayo ng iba't ibang colors or per column. So, for example, light color sa beverages, dark color naman yung para sa snacks, etc. So, kung anong category yung product without. So, alam na ng cashier kung ano yung category ng product without reading the text. So, that's a UX consideration na naka-embed directly sa isang rendering logic. Para sa stock column naman, 3-tier conditional coloring. So, merong if statement dito or if statement. Essentially, sa isang traffic light system na naka-embed sa table, hindi kailangan ng separate status column or tooltip. Yung color mismo yung nagko-communicate ng information. Tinatawag itong data visualization through styling, which is a valid technique ito sa mga dashboard at POS UI design. Para sa cart table naman, yung subtotal column ay may distinct na treatment, which is naka-ternary operator siya para efficiently na mag-branch between two styling options. Yung subtotal, naka-bold siya, warm brown. So, lahat naman ng ibang data is naka-regular mono, muted secondary color. Yung visual hierarchy naman yung pinaka-important data, which is naka-visually prominent siya. Then, that's all for my part po. Thank you.
Dangal greetings, I'm Jeric Salvador and I'm going to explain the bottom bar of our project. At nagsisimula ito sa build bottom bar na responsable sa pagtatayo ng bottom action bar ng application window gamit ang border layout para hatiin yung bar sa dalawang bahagi. And yung left side naman ay naglalaman ng quantity, spinner at 4 na action buttons. Habang yung right side naman ay nagpapakita ng running total sa loob ng isang style panel. Ang mga buttons ay ginagamit gamit ang reusable na build button. Ito, factory method na tumatanggap ng label, foreground color at background color. automatic nitong kinakalculate yung tamang border color. At slightly na darker yung hover niya, background sa pamamagitan ng pagbabawas ng 12 sa bawat RGB channel. And then yung sa build section header naman, which is ito, ay gumagawa ng mga decorative titled separators gamit ang isang anonymous na JPanel subclass na nag-override ng paint component to para mano-manong gumuhit ng dalawang pahalang na linya gamit ang graphics 2D habang yung build style build style table naman yung gumagawa ng JTable na may overridden na repair renderer na nag-apply ng alternative row colors gamit ang modulus operator at nagpapalit ng accent highlight sa mga selected rows. At ang mga handler methods naman ang naglalaman ng tunay na business logic ng application. Ang handle add to cart ay yung unang sinusuri kung may napiling product ba ang user at kung wala ay nagpapakita agad ng warning dialog gamit ang guard clause para hindi na magpatuloy sa susunod na logic. Kung may napili man, inihambing nito ang requested quantity na sa available stock. Kapag kulang naman yung stock, nagpapakita ng error dialog at hindi nagpapatuloy kapag pumasa ang dalawang validation. Tinatawag naman na ang method na cart item, which is to, at sabay na binabawasan ng stock ng produkto. At yung handle checkout naman, ito, ay nagbe-verify muna na hindi empty ang cart dapat. Gumagawa ng receive object, which is ito. Ipinapakita ito sa user. Pagkatapos ay clear ang cart at i-reload ang product list mula sa factory defaults para ma-reset ang buong session habang ang handle clear cart naman ay nagpapakita muna ng confirmation dialog at binabalik ang lahat ng quantities sa product stock bago tuluyang i-clear yung cart. And sa huli naman yung observer callback method at table population helpers ang nagpapanatiling updated at reactive ng UI sa tuwing may pagbabago sa data or changes. Ang on-cart updated naman ay automatic na tinatawagan ng cart tuwing nagbabago ang nilalaman ito para i-update yung total label at i-refresh ang cart table. Habang yung on-cart cleared naman ay nire-reset ang lahat pabalik sa 0 and yung load product table ito at refresh cart table ito pala, load product table, refresh cart table, helper methods ay parehong sumusunod sa isang pattern. Clear mo na yung lahat ng rows gamit ang set row count. Ito. Pagkatapos ay iniikot yung data at dinadagdagan ng bawat entry bilang isang object array na ang order ay dapat tumutugma sa column definitions ng isang table model. At ang lahat naman na numeric values tulad ng price at subtotal ay nire-reformat sa saktong dalawang decimal places lang gamit yung string format, which is to, or ito, para yung currency values ay laging tama at consistent yung pag-display niya. And
Thanks everyone, I'm Jeremiah Gambiato. So for this part of our system, i-explain ko yung main program, which is basically the entry point ng buong application namin. So dito talaga nag-umpisa yung execution ng program. Once na nirun namin yung system, automatic na papasok muna siya sa main method bago proceed sa ibang parts ng system. Inside the main method, gumagamit kami ng swing utilities that invoke iter. So, bakit namin siya ginamit? Ginamit namin siya para siguraduhin na yung GUI namin or yung user interface ay magra-run sa tamang thread, which is yung tinatawag na event dispatch thread. Important, important to sa Java Swing kasi kung hindi tama yung thread na ginamit, pwede magkaroon ng errors, glitches, or mag-lag yung interface. So parang in simple terms, inaayos nito na smooth at safe yung pag-load ng UI namin. Then after that, inside ng invoke later is gumamit kami ng bagong instance ng post frame. Then sinet namin siya as visible using set visible true. So dito lalabas yung main window ng post system namin na gagamitin ng user. So ibig sabihin, itong main program, kahit simple lang siya, very important yung role niya kasi siya yung nagla-launch ng buong system at nagsaset up kung paano maayos yung pagdi-display ng interface namin. So, ayun. Siya yung pinaka-starting point ng application namin before mag-run lahat ng functionalities. That's all for the main program.